fire department to try to put out fires that people have started. And yes, about 2 miles, almost exactly 2 miles from the mall right now. But from our vantage point, we haven't seen that. What we've seen is the smoke. Finally, the fire department is able to put down that fire. We don't see so much now. And not far from us, we see 2 cars that obviously burned out because the fire department couldn't get through the crowd to stop it. Anderson.
So, Joe, and I may have to interrupt you for the governor's press conference, but can you talk about the police tactics? Because you rightfully point out the danger that these firefighters are under. Obviously, this is a very tense time for police. Earlier, we saw some police in riot gear, some police not. We heard from the head of patrol for the Baltimore Police Department a short time ago saying that some of the officers had riot gear, some did not, which raises all sorts of questions. But in terms of the tactics, has there been an evolution of tactics? It does seem, we've seen a number of lines created by the police trying to at least contain, I guess, the spread of some of the violence. Are they moving in to arrest people and then regrouping in lines, or are they just maintaining those lines?
Right. I can tell you that it's my impression is, given what we've seen out here on the streets for the last several hours, I think the police have been, they've given people a lot of room. There goes one of the police cars you can see that's been damaged in the melee out here. But the truth is, I think the police have been fairly flexible with people who have been exercising, if you will, their First Amendment rights. But if somebody is getting out of control, they seem to be moving in quickly now to do something about it. I've seen a couple instances out here this evening where the police officers just moved away from the street when they thought the average people, the ministers, the Fruit of Islam from the Nation of Islam, this other group called the 300 or whatever, when they saw that these other people were taking control of the block, the police moved out of the way. So they've given people room to breathe, but it's clear that they're not taking as much as they did a couple nights ago.
Well, Joe, let me also I want to kind of zero in on something you just brought up, because I do think it's a very important point, and we've seen it throughout the day now since this violence began in the afternoon. We have seen a number of times where members of the Nation of Islam, I believe it's members of the Nation of Islam, gentlemen wearing suits, bow ties. We've seen also pastors from local churches. There's a group, I think, as you said, they're called the 300 Men, standing between police and people throwing bottles, throwing rocks, and not just standing, but actively going after guys who are throwing things, not with any weapons, but just trying to get them to stop doing that. We even saw them standing and blocking access to several businesses that were in the midst of being looted at great risk to themselves.
Yes. And it's very important to say, there are a lot of people I've talked to out here who are very frustrated that this is going on in their community. They're upset about it, and they're trying to figure out how to get it under control. There are people calling on the pastors to come out into the streets and stop this. And they're pointing out that it's a very small number of individuals who've been causing all the trouble. So you have to say that there are great concerns about this community. And I know that CVS over there, when are they going to get their CVS back in this neighborhood? People understand that who live here, that once you burn down the resource that helps the community, it's going to be a long time before you get that resource back. So there's frustration about that, and I can't emphasize enough that there's a small group of people out here causing a huge amount of problems, and the people who live here from Baltimore, a lot of them, they'll walk up to you and tell you, I don't like this. I want this to end.
Joe, I want to go to, we'll continue to check back in with you. We are on until the 10 o'clock hour tonight on this broadcast. I want to go back to Miguel Marquez. He's now made his way to the Western District police station, where we saw the site of peaceful protests over the last more than 10 days or so, as the outrage over the death of Freddie Gray has increased. What's the scene there? What are you seeing?
Extraordinarily tense, I can tell you. The police officers here are in full riot gear. They have gas masks on, and they are prepared for anything. They say that they're not hearing of anything specific coming their way tonight. But Adrian, if you keep swinging around this way, I can show you how they have increased the security here. This is the first time we've seen this. The security barrier pushed all the way back to the corner here, and then all the way back down the street on this other side. So just an enormous backing off from the neighborhood. This is also, I want to point out this. This is Mount Street, just about 6 blocks up this way. This is where Freddie Gray was arrested. We did hear what sounded like gunshots not too far away a short time ago as we pulled up. We also saw the street was filled with smoke a little while ago, so I don't know if they're using, we did see some of the people running around using smoke bombs of some sort. The rioters were. Fires in this area, but there is a disconcerting how few people are on the streets right now and how fearful this city is. Anderson?
Miguel, also just to give our viewers a sense of the geography of all this, how far are you roughly away from the CVS? How far are you roughly away from the mall?
We're about half mile away from the CVS. We're about a mile away from the mall. The CVS is right up that. If I went straight up Mount Street and took a right onto North Avenue, you'd hit the CVS. It's the biggest, newest, or it was anyway, store in the area. And then if you kept going, if you took a left there on Fulton and you kept going up about another half mile, you'd run into Monument Mall, which is the big mall around here. There are several high schools around there. The fact that it closed at 2:30 and the looters somehow got in at 7:30 p.m. after police, every time police move from one area, individuals move into it. The fact that they left the mall and that they got in, that they are now running free in there.